Good morning, this is Rob, YouTube's granddad. How are we all doing today? I was going to do a sort of walkabout video, but unfortunately the weather's not too good today. It is England after all, and we're just about to come into October. So I thought I'd do a video on some of the experiences I had when I first went to Thailand. In them days you flew into the Dongwon airport. They had no superhighway down to Pattaya or anything like that at all. So I thought I'd do some stories, but while I talk about them, I think what I'll do is do an overlay of quite a few pictures, some videos of things I've done in Thailand, and also what I did recently when I went out there with my son in Thailand. And hopefully you enjoy this, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys out there that can actually remember some of this as well, so it's not just going to be me. So let's start the video, get into it, and hopefully you enjoy this one. I will see you at the end. So 2004, landed in Bangkok, and I think we landed about midnight almost. Never been aboard before. I was never one to go out in the sun, especially when I was back in the UK. So landing out in Thailand when it was almost 40 degrees at midnight, it was a struggle, I'll be honest. I walked off the airport. I came from England, so long flight, couldn't sleep. I had jeans on, jumper on, jacket on, bag on my back and all this sort of stuff. And my two friends that came with me, they'd been in Thailand before and I hadn't, so they literally t-shirts, shorts and things like that. And I didn't realise, I certainly was well unprepared for how hot and humid it was going to be, especially that time of night. Because I thought, like you do if you've not been aboard before, it's midnight, it's going to be a bit cool and everything else. I was in for a huge awakening there. I walked to the doors opened, and my god, the heat that came through those doors was just amazing. It was so hot, it just felt like they'd opened 5 other oven doors on me that had been on for an hour. It was so hot, it was unbelievable. I literally almost panicked. I literally went, hang on, I'm back a minute. I legged it to the toilets with my bags and my suitcase and everything else. Got changed into t-shirt and shorts. Come out, and obviously the two stews that went with me, they were just laughing, found it all funny, which they did throughout the holiday because everything was a new experience for me, whereas they'd been to Thailand a few times. So we got out of the airport, got a taxi, and we were going down to a place I'd never been before called Pattaya. You're not ready for it. When you realise it's that heat everywhere, it was just stifling. So we got a taxi, jumped in the taxi to go down there. Bear in mind, this was it's like about midnight around that, if I recall correctly. We started driving down there. The taxi had no aircon, windows open. I honestly was sitting in that taxi thinking, I've got 3 weeks of this, how am I going to last 3 weeks of this? I was thinking, how am I going to last in this kind of heat? I was like, just such a bad state. So we started driving down. Obviously there's no super highway straight down to Pattaya then. There's all kind of felt like back roads, and we're driving, get out the city, and it like goes, weird thing I've never experienced before, it literally went all dark around us. You couldn't hardly see any street lights or anything around at all, which is a little bit disconcerting. And this driver, I don't know which way he goes out. I mean, I can't remember back the journey after time. But we were driving, and it seemed like we were driving ages. I mean, it was over 2 hours. And we were driving about an hour, and the driver asked, did we want a drink and all this sort of stuff. And I was gasping by then, and I said, yeah, absolutely. So he then turned off what we thought was a sort of abandoned road anyway. He then turned off onto a road that didn't quite seem like it had been tarmacked or anything like that. And there was lots of bumps and holes and everything we were going through. And we kind of went through this, what I'd say is sort of, I wouldn't say village, but lots of buildings around us, and they all look derelict. I'll be honest, never experienced Thailand before, so I didn't realise that's how some of the buildings are. But to me, it just felt kind of like, it was like third world country. And my opinion of that had completely changed now, but my first experience. So we're going down this way for which seemed like 45 minutes, and to me it just felt like we were in the complete middle of nowhere. It was completely black, couldn't see any street lights, or anything like that. And I'll be honest, I started to get a little bit, in terms of words, insecure, but a little bit worried. The fact that we're in the middle of nowhere, this guy, a taxi driver, was taking us to this, wherever this place was, and we couldn't see anything. I felt a little bit unsafe. And that is probably the only time in my life, all the years I've gone to Thailand, I've ever felt unsafe. That's because of my naivety, to be honest. So we're travelling down this road, pitch black completely, and then I see this building in front of us. Again, it kind of looked derelict. We got past the building, we turned left, and as we turned left, which was the weirdest thing of all, we turned left, and all of a sudden there was blinding light coming from what was probably a row of 3 or 4 like shop type places, and one of the most magical places in the world at that time. Turned the corner, bright light, middle of nowhere, and we come across a McDonald's.
Come out, dude.
One of the best things in my life that was at the time. We went in, got a drink, got something light to eat. I can't remember exactly what it was. I know we got a drink with lots of ice. Got back in the car, and we carried on. It just seemed really, really weird. And then all of a sudden, he got back onto the same sort of road we'd travelled down to there. And then we ended up hitting, well, I'd say the main road again, back down to Pattaya. But that one experience is just like a big introduction to what Thailand is all about at the end of the day. Surprises is what I'd say. So we did that, no problem at all. We got to the hotel, and like I say, it was late, you know, and to be honest, we'd had a 12-hour flight. I was absolutely shattered, never flown before. The heat had got to me. I was literally, you know, ready to just fall into bed, to be honest. And we arrived there. Stu's went, oh, we're in the hotel, which was, what was it called? The Cozy Beach Hotel, which is on, I now know, is up on Pattaya, which is behind the big Pattaya sign. Now, when we got there, the stewards all rushed to their rooms. We all like all 3 rooms in the line, and I went, all right, see you in a minute, and just went in, put my bag away, started putting my stuff away, did my teeth, getting ready for bed, thinking, oh, do you know what, I just need to sleep. I'm absolutely shattered. Bang, 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 at the door. 2 stewards standing there saying, what are you doing? Get ready. I looked at my watch and went, are you joking? Yeah, it's like nearly 2 o'clock, and it's gone about 2:30 in the morning. They just smiled and went, Thailand doesn't sleep. And I thought, all right. So I thought we'd just go to a local bar for something to drink. Never been to Pattaya. Bear in mind, the internet wasn't almost non-existent then, so it's not like I could research anything about it. I literally knew nothing about Thailand. The 2 stews got a taxi to take us down to bars and things like that. I literally knew nothing. I know nothing where I was going or anything like that. So we jumped into it, and they just finally go, you're going to enjoy this, Now obviously I know where we were going and everything else, but at the time I certainly didn't. We went straight down to a place called, world famous now, Walking Street, and it was like, it blew my mind. It was like turning up to Vegas, flashy lights everywhere, got out of the taxi, walked along, bars everywhere, clubs everywhere, and I thought, oh my God. I said, but how long before it closes? And they go, it doesn't close, it's open 24 hours. In them days, it didn't shut at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. In them days, it was open all night, so we literally stayed out until very, very early hours of the morning. Went back to the hotel, and enjoyed, you know, getting back into bed and having a sleep, I'll be honest. But that was my first induction into being in Thailand, which, if anyone's ever been there, they might totally understand where I was coming from with that. Literally, you know, and the next morning onwards, it was just a mass eye-opener. The whole thing was, you know, waking up in a different country, aircon on, boiling hot as soon as you open out the door, and then literally just getting up when you wake up rather than setting an alarm. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Then the 2 stews got up, we went down to the pool and enjoyed our day next to the pool, and the pool had a like bar within the pool. That was really, really fun. So we spent the whole day there, and that was my first proper induction into Thailand and its culture and everything else, like what it was like. Surprised the hell out of me, to be honest. But even at this point, I was still thinking, how am I going to last out here in this type of heat for somebody that's never been aboard before? So I'm sure there's people that can relate to that in a big way. I'm sure they can. But I will go on and tell you some other little stories, and hopefully you enjoy some of these. Right, let's get to the next one. After being in Thailand for, I think, a couple of days, we kept going back to a bar on Walking Street called Nick and Maureen's, it was. It was an English couple. We went in there, absolutely brilliant fun. They were really, really nice. And Nick had organised for us to go out on a boat trip, like fishing trip and all that, which was an experience on its own. But one of the little funny stories from that was that we went on the boat, we were out on it for the day. I had like a pair of trainers on, and we went onto a beach on one of the islands. I couldn't tell you what one at the moment. Onto one of the little islands. It had like a little hut there where they did foods and that, which I really, really enjoyed. We sat there. I ordered a curry because I thought, oh, that'd be nice. I'll try a little green curry because I thought that should be right. Blew my head off. We'd been out on the boat fishing, everything else, and my feet were soaking wet, sort of thing. And the two stews who suggested this, which at the time, you think they're not doing it to wind you up or anything like that. Yeah, well, just take your shoes off. They're dry off on the side with your socks and everything else, which I did while I was on the boat. The boat had a bit of cover and all that sort of stuff, and it wasn't a problem. I enjoyed being out on the boat. It was a great laugh. And then when we got back to shore, the boat sort of almost ploughed into the sand, let's say, just sat there. And I was all eager to get back onto terra firma, let's say. So I jumped out of the boat and sort of thing, and the two stews jumped in behind me. And I realise now how stupid and naive I was. They go, well, we'll race you up to the promenade bit. And I went, yeah, all right, sort of thing, carrying my shoes and my socks because obviously didn't want to get sand in them and all that sort of stuff, and they were still a bit wet. So I went, yeah, no worries. So I went, all right, let's go. And I legged it, got probably about quarter of the way, halfway up this beach, sort of thing. As I turned, I realised the two stews were still standing there laughing their heads off. As I was turning and realised they were doing that, I thought, what are they? And all of a sudden, oh man, I realised how hot that beach was. And by this time, it was like 42 or something outside. Now, if you know Thailand, 42 feels like a 48. My feet were burning on the sand. I mean, I'm not joking. It literally felt like I was on hot coals. And the two stews obviously just wetting themselves with laughter. Thought it was highly amusing. So I was screaming. I ran to the pavement, which again, you jump on the pavement off the sand. The pavement's hot. You go, oh my god! And the two stews come running up behind me, who still had their trainers on, by the way. And they go, oh, come over here. There's a pipe here, just wash your feet off with cold water. Anyone who's been in Thailand realises it's not cold water. So I started washing my feet with this water, which come out, and it felt like a boiling hot red tap I just turned on. It was even hotter than the stews, just couldn't stop there laughing. Then I quickly found a shaded bit on like a little staircase, sat on this shaded bit and sat down and just, my feet were, they felt red raw. They were so hot, and the two stews were just laughing their heads off. They thought it was highly amusing. Given their due, they went and got me a couple of bottles of cold water from the local 7-Eleven, and I just poured it over my feet. Wait for my shoes and that to dry off enough. Then I put them on, and we made our way back to the hotel. But there was a lot of experiences like that. That I had, because I was so naive. I was literally just doing anything, thinking that's what you did. But yeah, I totally burnt my feet that day. But obviously, it's a memory. Again, it's sort of things that life gives you. Later in life, when I'm a lot more older and you're sitting in your chair, sort of thing, relaxing, you can remember back to all these sort of things. It's memories. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only idiot that's done this. Please comment below if you've done it, because I'm sure other people have, who're so naive or ill prepared for what Thailand has to offer. So yeah, from that one, it was quite amusing. But like I said, good memories at the end of the day. The night that we would go out, you learn quite quickly when you go to all these different bars and clubs that we were going to, that the one thing they all have in common, funny enough, is bar games. They love things like Jenga, Connect 4 especially, and they had some other little ones as well. but they used to always play any customers that used to come in for drinks and things like that. And we went in one bar, which was, oh, what was it? I mean, it was called Mike's Bar Complex. It was just off Walking Street. And we went in there a few times, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. There was about probably 8 bars in like a little square, no problems at all. And we were in there one night, and I'm playing Connect 4 with one of the girls in there, which, her name was I think it was. And we were sitting there playing Connect 4, and all of a sudden I was starting to get really competitive, because I am in life anyway, very, very competitive when it comes to games. And I started losing like every game of Connect 4. Now, for anyone that's used to go to Thailand, or even, not say more recently, but in the past, you'll know that these girls in the bars are grandmasters at Jenga, at Connect 4, any of those bar games. They will slaughter you every single time. It is so hard to beat these girls. And after about an hour playing with I don't know, it just kind of kicked into me. I kind of got out that holiday mode and got into competitive mode. And it was like, no, I need to win one of these. It started frustrating me. So I stopped drinking a little bit of alcohol that may have been flowing. And I started drinking, probably Sprite at the time, if I remember rightly. I drank a lot of Sprite at the time. And so I started playing with her at about, I think it was between 8 and 9 o'clock at night, and we're sitting there. I'm buying her drinks here and there, and we're chatting, talking, having some of the food that they have there, which we'll talk about on another video, which is an experience enough. But yeah, so we started playing, I think it was 8, 9 o'clock, and then we got through till probably about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, because the bars then were open almost 24 hours. And by the time we'd finished, I was beating her. And if anyone's ever played, especially Connect 4 with Thai girls at bars, you'll know how quick they are. They're making moves in like a second each time. So our games were going really, really quick, and we just constantly just kept playing. And by the end of it, I was beating her, and which was really quite funny actually. So we finished up for the night, and I was like going home back to the hotel all satisfied, and all chuffed myself that I've managed to beat her. And then me and the 2 stews went out the following night, went into the same bar, and I was still in that competitive mode. I wasn't drinking alcohol or anything like that, and I just started playing different of the girls and that there on Connect 4, and I was winning. I mean, I'm not joking. I was seriously winning every single game. I was still buying the girls drinks when they were playing, because technically you only bought me a drink when you won, but I was in the zone. And the 2 stews were sitting there laughing their heads off. People, in them days, people used to get in the crowds, they'd watch. It was a great atmosphere. And all these girls was almost lined up to play me, and I was as fast as them, and I was winning. I don't think I lost a game that night. And it was just an amazing experience. It was such a great laugh. And then we literally, when we left there, we then just kept going around to different bars, and I was playing all these Connect 4 with all these different girls and everything else. It was a brilliant laugh. We just had such a great time doing that. And again, it's all about the experience of doing that. Now people go, oh, you sat in the bar playing Connect 4 that long and anything else. But it's the experience of it, And at the time, you didn't win against these Thai girls. They were so good, it was unbelievable. So for what they call a foreigner, to actually start beating them at games, it was absolutely amazing. And then we were in A's bar, I think about a night later. They used to do this thing where, I will put a picture up while I'm talking about this, where they put Jenga, and you basically lay it all down flat, side by side, and you'll see in the picture what I'm on about. And what they used to do, you used to have to hold it, put pressure with either hand either side, or fingers either side, how you want to do it, and you'd have to lift them up in the air slowly and then lower it back down on the floor, top of the bar. And I think the highest was something like 14, 15, something like that. And again, the competitive streak got into me, and it frustrated me that I could not get anywhere close to that. So again, I spent quite a bit of time doing that, and in the end, the amount I did was, I think the highest was about 15. I ended up doing, I can't always remember now, but I think it was something like 28 or 34 of these things, literally up in the air, you had to hold it there for like a second. It's all about keeping the pressure, and then I lowered it back down on the bar. Absolutely amazing night, absolutely amazing night. And again, back in them days, which I found was always a lot better, was that, you know, when you're in the bars and that, you know, there'd be like group photos and photos of you with people in the bars and things like that, and all the bars would have loads and loads of pictures, because they're more like Polaroids in them days, which were instant photos, and they would stick them on the bars behind. So you'd have hundreds of these photos all at the back of the bars. And I remember going back to Thailand a year later, and my picture still being up there, me standing there with Jenga bits and Connect 4 and all this sort of stuff. And that, I think, is what Thailand is kind of missing now, which they've kind of lost. Because that bit of people going back and seeing your photo up in the bars and things like that, it was just brilliant. Knowing that, I don't know, it was just a great thing for the bars to do. And I think they've kind of lost a bit of that now. And recently, if you go into a lot of the bars, and again, I think they've lost a lot of this, is because obviously there's a communication issue sometimes. You know, you go into the bars, you sit down, play bar games and that with some of the girls and that. Now, a lot of the bars, they don't even have bar games anymore. And some of the ones that do, they're like broken. You know, the thing was, when they had the bar games, even if you really couldn't, you know, can't speak Thai, I know certain words enough to get by a little bit when I'm out there. If you were playing the games with the girls, then the communication wasn't great, but you found your time still went with them because you were having such a great laugh. You know, you'd be playing anyone in the bars and things like that, and it didn't matter if you could communicate language-wise. You just enjoyed the moment. You were just having a good laugh because of the bar games. And now the problem is, you go in bars and that, and it's hard to talk to certain people in bars, especially the girls or the manager and things like this, if you can't really speak okay Thai, because a lot of them can't speak English very well anyway. I mean, there are some good apps now, which, you know, makes a huge, huge difference. But yeah, I mean, that was a massive experience for me. But I think Thailand has lost a little bit of that now. There are certain places that still do it, which are a great laugh, because there was a bar called, what was it called? Love Bar, I think, on Soy Diana. Great bar, absolutely great. You went there, they had all the bar games underneath the thing. And that it's probably one of the first bars I went into in the last few years that actually still had bar games. They got them out, and we were just playing, you know, again for a long old period of time. It was great. It reminded me of, well, I'm trying to say it, the good old days. But yeah, that was an experience now. Again, but again, when you go to Thailand, you get all these different experiences. And obviously, while you're watching the video, you'll see all these different pictures come out, all the different places. There's so much to do in Thailand. And then obviously there's loads of temples, but in Pattaya, I honestly believe it, I think something like 75% of all tourist attractions are around Pattaya. You know, from elephant sanctuary to the tiger sanctuary to the water park to all the water activities that you can get up to. You got Kolan, Crossroads, Cross Water. You got Sanctuary of Truth. There's so many like spa places you can go to. And it's just the experience of anything. But there is so many things to do. I mean, that's just a few. Just to name, you've got the big Buddha on the hill, walked up to the Pattaya sign. But there are so many places around there to go. You know, and there is across Thailand, there really is. So I would highly, highly recommend going to Thailand for anybody who's not been there. Go there. It's an experience and you'll never, ever regret it. And hopefully, as you're looking through my photos while I'm talking through this, you'll see all the different things I've done. Well, I've been out on my own, been with my friends. Obviously, my son went with me last year, which he thoroughly enjoyed it, absolutely 100%. So yeah, hopefully you'll go out there, have your own experiences. But there are so many stories and tales to tell of being in Thailand. Anybody that's been there and had a good holiday, they will tell you that there is just endless amount of experiences that you can get out there. And it's so worthwhile going there, from being on the bike taxis, the tuk-tuks. It's just an absolutely brilliant place to go. So thumbs up for Thailand, thumbs up for Pattaya, and thumbs up for anybody that wants to go there. But for me, I know there's only a few stories, but for me, what I always say is that when you go to Thailand, when you leave there, the one thing you always feel like you do is that you leave a part of yourself there. That's how I feel, and that's how a lot of my friends always feel. And we'll see how it goes. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this little video anyway, and I'm more than happy to do more if people are interested. But I hope you enjoyed the videos and the pictures I put up as an overlay of this. So until next time, keep happy. This is Rob, YouTube's granddad. Be safe. See you soon.